Hi, it's me, Ingrid INFP, and I'm at the library, and I actually found a group room where I can sit and talk without anybody coming to, like, disturb me. So I still haven't had any Wi-Fi. It really sucks. They tried calling me, and then it didn't work, and so they sent me an SMS. Like, they called, and then the people who are the internet providers, and I answered, and there was nobody on the other end. I was like, hello, are you there? And there was nobody. So they sent me an SMS saying, yeah, we will call you within the next 2 days to book a time with the technical people. And I was like, I thought that's what the call was going to be about, was going to be the technical people booking a time with me. But that wasn't what it was about. So now within the next 2 days, if I'm lucky, tomorrow is a Friday, so I don't know if Thursday, if this Thursday counts as one of their 1 to 2 work days. They will call me and book a time to actually go and check in my apartment why the Wi-Fi does not work. I wrote to my landlady before, and she just said, oh, have you tried calling the internet provider? And I was like, yeah, of course. I never thought of that. I am so dumb, haven't I? Of course I've called the internet provider. What does she think? So I tried not to be passive aggressive, but anyway. I just said, yes, I have tried several times. I haven't gotten it fixed. That's all I said. And she said, oh, I can call them for you. And I was like, you have no idea what you've gotten yourself into. So yeah, I didn't reply to her email. My landlady has no idea about anything. But what happened is that I had a meeting with my supervisor today, which I have every week, but I've missed a week because it was a national day. And also I was on holiday that 1 week, so I missed talking to my supervisor. And we do like getting into some gossip. Basically, my boss wants all of the residents to get together and have a meeting together, and then decide together with him, sometime during the summer, to decide about who is going to get which room at my workplace and who is going to get which patients. And I got so mad because I understand. I wrote back to him and I said, I want to have it this way. I don't find that the meeting like this will be any use. And then he wrote back, yeah, but that's the whole reason why we need to have a meeting, so that everybody is on the same page. He's an ENTJ. It's not useful in this context to know that he's an ENTJ, but I think that he is missing some of that wanting to listen to the individual. I think that he just wants things to be fixed, and he wants everybody to work in the same direction, but that's not how it works. We are residents at different stages of our residency, so I'm in the middle, kind of, and we have another resident who is near the end. He has less than a year left, I think, of his residency, and then we have another resident who is around at my level, and then there are 2 residents that just started, and then there's 1 resident who's who's done like 3 out of the 5 years. So we're kind of spread throughout our program. But we're also very spread in terms of personalities. I've talked to you guys about my ESFP colleague. She does a great job, and she's really good at her job, but she is an ESFP, so like personality-wise, she and my ENTJ boss do not click. Let's just say it that way. I, as an INFP, do not click really with my boss. But there are all of these SJs who do click with my boss, you know? And the problem is that my boss does believe in hierarchy, and he does think that's like the resident who has the most experience, he will listen to that one more than the new ones, which makes sense when it comes to like medically, you know, he is medically more advanced, like he has a lot more medical knowledge and also a lot more skill in treating patients than what I do or what the new residents have. But that doesn't make him an expert on and able to decide who will have which room and who will have which patients. Also, there is the fact that colleague is probably an ISTJ type or something like that. And I am not. My ESFP is definitely not. And so my ESTJ colleague, or I don't know what type he is really. He could be an INTJ or something, but he seems to have it all together, you know. He's a very put together person. And he seems to be calm in all situations, you know, and he seems a very responsible person, as opposed to me, for example. And also my other colleague who is around the same time as me, who is around at the same level as me, she is, I don't know what type she would be, but possibly she would be an ISFJ or something like that. She's also very calm and put together, and she has 3 children and is extremely responsible and really, you know, seems like a put together person. There's a new resident who is also a put together person. Maybe she's like an ENFJ or something, I don't know. But I am not a put together person, and the ESFP colleague is not. Also, me and my ESFP colleague, we both grew up in another culture. My friend grew up in France and in Germany, and I grew up in France. And so we are more direct, and like we want more direct communication. We don't want all of this like dancing around the subject. We don't want to just have harmony for harmony's sake. Like in Sweden, a lot of times, there's a stereotype about Swedish people wanting efficiency, which is kind of true, kind of like the German stereotype. But there's also a lot of this FE like needing consensus. Everybody needs to be on the same page. Everybody is the same, everybody's equal, which is great, you know. But people are different. And so I think that a lot of Swedish people haven't figured that out. And it's interesting because my supervisor is Polish. So she was telling me, like, it's okay, Ingrid, to seem like you're demanding and such, because you are you and you grew up in a different culture. And we don't all have to be like, oh, it's all so great, we don't need to change anything, we can just sit by and make sure that everybody's happy. She sees that me and the ESFP are not that way. We are more chaotic, but we are also more like we stand up for what we want, you know. I think that this whole like SJ kind of way of trying to make sure that everybody's happy and to just go with the authority because the authority says so, it's good that there is a diversity in this. And my supervisor is an ISFJ, so she often kind of thinks these things inwardly, but she also, when she explodes, like when it's been too much, she'll be like, no, this is the way that I want things to be, you know? And my boss will actually listen then. But she said it is kind of a shame that, like, we need to explode in order for somebody to listen to us. And we were talking a little bit about the unfairness of how our boss views us according to our personalities, and listens to the people that he likes more than, like, it's a kind of favoritism, kind of, but it's not very overt, but you can feel it when you are not the favorite person, let's just say. Because I know that. So why am I talking about what my boss thinks? It's because I know that when we're going to have this meeting with all the residents, it doesn't matter how much I talk, what I say. He will always, like the most skilled ST resident, he will say something, and everybody will be like nodding, yes, 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 oh, that's such a great idea. And then I would say the exact same idea, and it's like, but have you thought about that? You know, they only question my ideas or my ESFP friend's idea, but they don't question his idea. They're just like, oh, fine. So if I question his idea, then suddenly I'm like a problem, you know? That is frustrating, you know? But my supervisor said, you'll have to get used to being a problem if you want things to go well, you know, here. I was like, you know, but it's kind of dangerous, you know, being the one who questions things. And she said, yeah, but, you know, it will, in the end, it will only get you a better workplace, and it will get you what you want, rather than just like bowing down to everybody else. And she said it's good. She really appreciates me and my ESFP colleague that we are willing to say something, you know. And I was feeling pretty sad about my ESFP colleague somehow, because she's not getting a good introduction to her residency. Well, I know that other residents have gotten a better introduction. And it's, you can tell that my boss is frustrated with her, whatever she does. And just because she is boisterous and, annoying and sometimes vulgar and brash and, you know, seems a little bit ditzy. One, she doesn't, Swedish is like her fourth language or something. And also, two, she is really good at her job. It doesn't matter what her personality is. If she is good at her job, then that's a person that you need to have there at your workplace, you know? So it's a shame that my ENTJ boss does not take her very seriously, because she's an ESFP, basically. That's the reason why he doesn't take her seriously. But she actually is really great at her job. And it's sad that he's not taking her needs seriously, that he's not being there to make sure that she has the best introduction to this workplace as he can. Because now she had to be daily doctor, and it was only like her third day back from working as a doctor for hire. And like for me, I had been 6 months, it was 6 months into my residency that I started to work as the daily doctor, the one that you ask questions and all that. So yeah, you can definitely feel the kind of hierarchy in my boss's brain of like, that's those two more calm SJ types are higher up in the hierarchy, or maybe my colleague is an. No, I think he's an ISTJ and that she's an ISFJ. That I can see that they're up there. Well, and then the ENFJ colleague, and then there's me, and then there's my ESFP colleague. I do think that my boss appreciates that I'm quiet and quite calm in general, and that I don't make such a big mess as my ESFP colleague. But yeah, it's sad that it's like you get advantages to being friends with your boss, basically. And yeah, it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. It should be equal. This is unfair. And I talked to my supervisor about this, and she said, yeah, we need to like help my ESFP colleague and help my ENFJ colleague, both of them who have started at the same time. We need to, personality is not the thing that will determine if you're good at your job, and we can all be good at our jobs by using our personalities in like the best way. So she said it's good that you question things, and it's good that there are people who are like me and that I'm not like anybody else, but both these things can be true at the same time. So yeah, I thought it was good to talk to her, and it's kind of hard because like we know that our boss is kind of playing favorites, and he thinks that he's being subtle about it, and like, yeah, maybe, but we see it, and we understand these things. I think that especially INFPs, we might not really understand hierarchy, like that's kind of stuff, but we can feel if something feels right or not right, or if if somebody is feeling not great, you can feel it, and I could tell that of my ESFP colleague is not really doing okay. She forgot her food. I also forgot my food. It was a bad day for us both. But she, instead of throwing her bag with her lunchbox in the car, she threw it in front of the car, and then she ran over it with her car. It's like, that is not the sign of somebody who's doing okay, So yeah, I don't know where I was going with this, but I thought I had an interesting discussion about like my boss. Sometimes he wants to talk to like the whole group, but then he will only want to listen to some of them, and also sometimes he will go to certain people and ask them about something, and then he won't go to the other people and ask them the same thing. So my supervisor wanted to be the person in charge of the students, and my boss needed somebody, one of the specialists, to be in charge of the students, but he only went to one of the colleagues. He didn't go to ask everybody, oh, is there anybody who wants to be in charge of the students? No, he just went to one person, so then she didn't even know that he was looking for somebody who was in charge of the students. And so my supervisor, I guess he appreciates my supervisor, but it's not like he'll go to my supervisor, when he wants to ask questions. He'll rather go to somebody else. And yeah, that's the reality of the workplace, I guess. I really love my workplace, one of the best places ever. I think my boss does a good job in general, but there is this element that is kind of irksome, And I told my supervisor, like, I can't always be the one fighting, you know? Why do I always have to fight in order to get how I want? Well, some people, they just say something and then like everybody's like nodding and congratulating. I also think that there is an element of sexism in this because my colleague is a man. But you know, you can't say that it's sexism because, oh, you know, it's just one person, you know. But you know, I feel that. This is what I feel. And it kind of sucks. And I can tell that my boss goes and talks to the male people at my workplace more. And I've told you guys about my ESFP senior doctor colleague, the one who has a Chihuahua and 16 guitars and as many bikes, basically. He's great, but he's very ADHD. He has like a lot of thoughts all over, and he can't keep himself organized. And I went into his, I was supposed to sign off his blood analysis results and all of that stuff. And he had stuff left since 2023. And I went and told my supervisor, like, this isn't safe for the patients, you know. And she went to talk to my boss. But my boss is always just too nice on him and always saying like, oh, you just need a little bit more time to do your administration, you know, and he'll give him like 2 hours every 2 weeks or something. And I was like, no, my colleague needs to sit down there and actually do the thing. You need to force him to sit down and do it because he'll always be distracted by other things that will come up. And if I were to leave that many things in my like unsigned stuff for months and months, then I would get into real trouble. Or if my supervisor did that, she would also get into real trouble. But because it's him, because it's this colleague who he's really smart and really good. So it's weird because on one hand, my boss seems to value personality and such. On the other hand, he seems to value that they seem to do the job at the cost on the cost of actually harming patients. Because it seems to be going well, but it's actually not. It is not, because some patients have waited like 6 months for their X-ray results. And, you know, maybe there was something important on that X-ray. So yeah, I don't really like the unfairness at my work, but this is how it is. I will need to wrap up this video soon because I think it's going to rain and I need to get out of this library. But it was great having this talk. Have a great day. Bye.